On my daughter's birthday, my parents showed up empty-handed. We forgot, my mom said. A week later, my niece was showing off a brand new phone. I just nodded. Then I forgot to send the $8,500 I'd promised for their renovation. By morning, 27 missed calls, and then, my name is Shannon, and 3 weeks ago, I made my mother cry so hard she couldn't breathe. And honestly, I'd do it again. But let me back up, because if I just told you the ending, you'd think I'm a monster. So hear me out first, and then you tell me. Was I wrong? My parents, Diane and Robert, have always played favorites. My older sister, Megan, was the golden child from day one. Megan got new clothes. I got her hand-me-downs. Megan got ballet lessons. I got told we couldn't afford it too. Megan's graduation party had a DJ. Mine had grocery store cake and my dad grilling hot dogs in the rain. But look, I'm not here to cry about my childhood. I grew up, moved out at 18, worked my way through community college, got a solid job in insurance claims. Not glamorous, but it pays. Married a good man named Derek, and we have a daughter, Lily. He just turned 10, and she is my entire world. Now pay attention here, because what my parents did on her birthday is what started everything. Lily wanted a purple and silver party. She planned it herself. The playlist, the guest list, even helped me bake the cake. Chocolate with vanilla frosting, because, and I quote, "Why choose one when you can have both?" That's my kid. Party starts at 2:00. Everything's perfect, and at 2:15, my parents walk in empty-handed. No gift, no card, nothing. I made excuses in my head. Maybe the gift's in the car. Maybe they'll give it to her later. That's what I've been trained to do my whole life. Cover for Diane and Robert. But Lily noticed. Kids always notice. She didn't say anything during the party, but afterwards she came to me in the kitchen and whispered, "Mom, did Grandma and Grandpa forget my present?" You know that feeling when your heart just cracks, not breaks. Cracks like a windshield one hit away from shattering. I told her they probably wanted to give it to her another day. She nodded, smiled, went to her room, and I heard her crying through the door. I called my mom that night, kept it calm. "Hey, Lily noticed you didn't bring anything. Is everything okay?" And my mother said, "Oh, we forgot. Busy week. We'll figure something out." We'll figure something out. For her granddaughter's 10th birthday. I said, okay, hung up, told myself to let it go. Do you think I let it go? Exactly 1 week later, I'm scrolling my phone and see Megan posted a photo of her daughter Addison holding a brand new iPhone, caption, "Spoiled by the best grandparents ever." A new phone, no occasion, just because. Meanwhile, my daughter cried on her birthday because they forgot. I stared at that photo for 10 minutes. Derek walked in, saw my face, and I just turned the screen toward him. He closed his eyes and shook his head. He didn't need to say a word. Now here's an important detail. One thing I haven't mentioned yet. My parents had been asking me for money. $8,500 for a kitchen renovation. And here's the kicker. They don't even own the house. The house belongs to my grandmother, Ruthie. She lets them live there rent-free while she travels the world with her new husband, Frank. 74 years old, married a retired pilot, and they've been hitting every continent. I love that woman. She's the one person in my family who never made me feel like second place. So my parents wanted new countertops, new cabinets, the whole thing in a house that isn't theirs. And because I'd been doing well, and because I am apparently a fool who never learns, I told them yes, I'd send the money Monday. But after I saw that photo of Addison and her shiny new phone, I made a decision. I forgot. Monday came. No transfer, no call, no text. I just forgot the way they forgot Lily's birthday. By Tuesday morning, 27 missed calls. My mother left 6 voicemails, each more panicked than the last. My dad sent 4 texts, which for a man who can barely operate his phone is basically a novel. Even Megan called, which, oh, that was rich. I looked at my phone, smiled, and set it on the counter. Derek said, "You're really doing this." I said, "They forgot my daughter's birthday, so I forgot their money." Now, what happened after those 27 calls? That's when things truly escalated, because my mother didn't just get mad. She showed up at my door. And what she said to me, you're going to want to hear every single word. But I'll get to that very soon, because what came next changed everything in my family. And the person who changed it all was somewhere over the Atlantic with absolutely no idea what she was about to walk into. Wednesday morning, I'm making Lily's lunch for school, and the doorbell rings. I open the door, and there's Diane, my mother, arms crossed, looking at me like I'd personally burned her house down. She didn't even say hello, walked straight past me into the kitchen and said, "What are you doing, Shannon? Why haven't you sent the money?" Not "how are you?" Not sorry about Lily's birthday, just "where's the money?" I leaned against the counter and said, "Oh, the renovation money I forgot." And the look on her face, Honestly, I wish I had a photo. She said, "You forgot $8,500 and you forgot." I said, "Yeah, busy week. You know how it is." She caught that. She absolutely caught that because those were her exact words about Lily's birthday. Her mouth opened, then closed, then opened again like a fish. "I'm sorry, but that's exactly what she looked like." Then she switched tactics. She got quiet. She sat down at my kitchen table and said, "Shannon, your father and I are counting on that money. We already scheduled the contractor. He starts in 2 weeks." And I said, "That sounds like a problem you should have thought about before you showed up to your granddaughter's birthday with nothing, and then bought Addison a brand new iPhone a week later." Silence, dead silence. Then she said, and this is the part that really got me, "That's different. Megan asked us to get Addison the phone. You never told us what Lily wanted." Can you believe that? So now it's my fault. I was supposed to hand them a shopping list for my daughter's birthday. Meanwhile, Megan just had to ask, and Addison gets a phone that probably cost more than everything my parents have ever given Lily combined. I said, "Mom, she's 10. She would have been happy with a card and $20. You didn't forget. You just didn't care enough to remember." That's when she started crying. And normally, that would have worked on me. My whole life, my mother's tears have been her secret weapon. She cries, and I cave every single time. But not this time. You want to know why? Because I kept picturing Lily crying in her bedroom, and my mother's tears suddenly didn't mean much anymore. She left without the money slammed my front door so hard the wreath fell off. Derek came downstairs and said, "I heard the door. She's gone." I said, "She's gone, and so is the $8,500. He just nodded and handed me a coffee. That man knows when not to ask questions. Do you think I was too harsh? Honestly, part of me felt guilty. That's the thing about family. Even when they treat you terribly, the guilt still finds a way in. But wait, it gets better because my mother didn't just go home and accept it. She called Megan. And Megan, perfect golden child. Megan called me that same afternoon with this sweet, concerned voice. "Hey, Shan Mom's really upset. She said you're withholding money from them. That doesn't sound like you." I said, "Did she tell you why?" She said, "You're mad about Lily's birthday, but come on, Shannon. They're older. They forget things. You can't punish them over a birthday gift." I said, "Megan, they bought Addison an iPhone a week after they showed up to Lily's party empty-handed. They didn't forget. They chose." Silence. Then she said, "That phone was a reward for Addison's grades. Since when does a 10-year-old need an iPhone for getting good grades?" That's not the point, Shannon. Then what is the point, Megan? Because from where I'm standing, the point is that my daughter cried on her birthday and your daughter got a brand new phone and somehow I'm the bad guy. She hung up on me. Classic Megan. So now my mother isn't speaking to me. My sister isn't speaking to me. And my father sent me a single text that said, "Your mother is very upset. Please fix this." That's Robert for you. 35 years of marriage, and his entire role is telling other people to fix things for Diane. But here's the thing. I wasn't done. Because the money situation gave me an idea. See, my parents had been planning this renovation for months. They'd picked the cabinets, the countertops had the contractor lined up, and all of it was happening in Grandma Ruthie's house, the house my grandmother owns. And you remember Grandma Ruthie, right? Traveling the world with Frank, 74, and living her best life. Well, I hadn't told her what happened yet. Partly because I didn't want to bother her, and partly because I didn't want to be that person who runs to Grandma every time there's a problem. But after Megan hung up on me, after my dad's pathetic little text, after my mom slammed my door, I picked up the phone and called Ruthie. She picked up on the second ring. I could hear Frank in the background saying something about boarding passes. They were in Portugal. I said, "Grandma, I need to tell you something." And I told her everything. The birthday, the empty hands, the iPhone, the money my mom showing up at my house, all of it. Ruthie was quiet for a long time, and then she said in that voice she has, when she's calm but absolutely furious, "They did what to my great-grandbaby?" I got chills because when Ruthie calls Lily my great-grandbaby, in that tone, somebody is about to have a very bad day. She said, "Shannon, you listen to me. You don't send them a dime, not 1 cent. And you tell your mother I'll be home in 4 days, and she and I are going to have a conversation." 4 days. My grandmother cut her Portugal trip short. Frank rebooked their flights without a single complaint because Frank understands that when Ruthie decides something, you just get out of the way. Now imagine being my mother. Imagine knowing that Ruthie, the woman who owns your house, pays your property taxes, and has never once asked you for rent, is flying home early, specifically because of what you did. Would you be nervous? Because Diane was terrified. And I know she was terrified because she called me 6 times in 2 days, and her voicemails went from angry to panicked to practically begging. Shannon, please tell me you didn't call your grandmother. Please tell me she's not coming home because of this. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. She already knew. And when Ruthie landed on that Sunday evening, what she actually said to my parents, face to face in their own kitchen, it was something I never could have planned. It was better than anything I could have imagined. But that part of the story is coming very soon. And trust me, you are not ready for what Grandma Ruthie did next. Sunday evening, Ruthie landed at 6:00. Frank drove her straight from the airport to my parents' house. She didn't stop at a hotel, didn't freshen up, didn't even change out of her travel clothes. She walked through that front door with her rolling suitcase still in her hand. I wasn't there for this part, but Ruthie told me every detail later, and Frank confirmed it word for word, so I trust it completely. My mother was sitting in the living room when Ruthie walked in. My dad was in his recliner watching TV. Ruthie didn't sit down. She stood in the middle of the room, looked at both of them, and said, "Tell me about Lily's birthday." My mom immediately started with, "Mom, this has been blown out of proportion." Ruthie held up one hand, just one hand, and Diane stopped talking. Imagine being 57 years old and your mother can still silence you with one hand. That's the kind of power Ruthie carries. She said, "I didn't ask for an explanation. I said, tell me about Lily's birthday. Did you bring her a gift?" My dad muted the TV. That's how you know things are serious in that house. Robert never mutes the TV. My mom said, "We forgot." Ruthie said, "You forgot? And then what did you do for Addison?" Silence. "Diane, what did you buy Addison?" My mom whispered, "A phone." Ruthie nodded slowly. Then she said, "So you forgot your granddaughter's 10th birthday, made that child cry in her bedroom, and a week later bought your other granddaughter a brand new phone, and then you went to Shannon's house and demanded money for a renovation in my house that I own." When Ruthie says that I own, you feel it in your bones. My dad actually sat up straight in his recliner, which Frank told me he'd never seen happen before. My mom started crying, and Ruthie, my beautiful, savage, 74-year-old grandmother, said, "Your tears don't work on me, Diane. They never have. Now here's what's going to happen. Can you picture this? Because I wish I'd been a fly on that wall." Ruthie told them 3 things. First, there would be no renovation. Not now. Not until she decided otherwise. It's her house, her decision, and she never approved it in the first place. My parents had just assumed she'd be fine with it, because she was halfway across the world. Second, they were going to make things right with Lily. Not eventually, not when things calmed down. Immediately. And third, this is the part that really shook them. Ruthie said, "If I ever hear that you've treated Shannon's daughter differently from Megan's daughter again, you will be out of this house within 30 days. And I don't say things I don't mean." My father spoke for the first time. He said, "Mom, that's a bit extreme." Ruthie looked at him and said, "Robert, what's extreme is watching your granddaughter cry on her birthday and doing nothing about it. What's extreme is your wife showing up at your daughter's house demanding money with no shame. That's extreme. Me protecting my great-grandbaby. That's just common sense." Frank told me later that Robert didn't say another word for the rest of the night. Now here's where things started to shift. Because after Ruthie left that evening, something happened that I honestly didn't expect. My dad called me. Not a text. Not a fix this message. An actual phone call. He said, "Shannon, I owe you an apology." I almost dropped my phone. Robert doesn't apologize. Robert watches TV and lets Diane handle everything. But he said, "I've been sitting here thinking, and your grandmother is right. We messed up. I messed up. I should have paid attention." I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "Thanks, Dad." He said, "I'm going to do better. I don't want to lose my house, but more than that, I don't want to lose you and Lily." I should have said that a long time ago. It wasn't a long conversation. Robert isn't built for long conversations, but it was real. And I felt something loosen in my chest that I didn't even know was tight. My mother, though, she took longer. 2 full days of silence. I figured she was either furious or plotting because Diane doesn't do quiet. But on Tuesday evening, she showed up at my door again. And this time she wasn't crossing her arms. She had a bag with her, a gift bag, purple and silver. She said, "Can I see Lily?" I almost said no. Part of me wanted to make her wait, make her feel what Lily felt. But then I thought, this isn't about punishing my mother forever. This is about my daughter. So I called Lily downstairs. And my mom knelt down, actually knelt, which with her knees is a whole event, and said, "Lily, Grandma is so sorry about your birthday. I made a mistake and you didn't deserve that. I brought you something, but more importantly, I want to take you out this weekend. Just me and you, wherever you want to go." Lily looked at me. I nodded, and Lily hugged her. You know what was in the bag? A little charm bracelet with a purple butterfly on it. Not expensive, not flashy, but Lily put it on immediately and hasn't taken it off since. My mom stood up and looked at me. Her eyes were red and she said, I know I've been unfair, not just about the birthday, about a lot of things for a long time. I said, yeah, you have. She flinched, but I wasn't going to sugarcoat it. Not anymore. I said, Mom, I love you, but watching my daughter cry because of something you did, that was my breaking point. I won't let that happen again. She nodded. She didn't argue, didn't make excuses, didn't cry. She just said, I understand. And you know what? That was enough. Not perfect, not some movie scene where everybody hugs and the music swells, but enough. Now, Megan, that's a different story. Megan called me later that week after she heard about Ruthie's ultimatum. She said, I can't believe you dragged Grandma into this. I said, I can't believe you think Addison needed an iPhone and Lily deserved nothing, but here we are. She didn't have a great response to that. Megan and I aren't best friends right now, and honestly, we might never be. But that's okay. I've spent my whole life trying to earn my place in this family, and I'm done auditioning. The Saturday after everything happened, my mom took Lily to the aquarium. Just the two of them. Lily came home talking a mile a minute about jellyfish and penguins and how Grandma bought her a stuffed otter from the gift shop. She was beaming. That night, Ruthie called me. She said, how's my great-grandbaby? I said, she's happy, Grandma. Ruthie said, good. That's all that matters. And Shannon, you did the right thing. Don't let anyone tell you different. Derek and I were sitting on the porch after Lily went to bed, and he said, you think things will actually change? I said, I think my parents know what happens if they don't. He laughed. Ruthie doesn't play. No, she does not. So here's where things stand now. My parents are trying. Really trying. My dad has called Lily twice this week just to ask about school. My mom is planning to take her to get her ears pierced next month because Lily's been asking forever. The renovation is on hold indefinitely. And honestly, my parents seem more focused on family than kitchen countertops for the first time in years. Do I think everything is magically fixed? No. 32 years of favoritism doesn't disappear because Grandma Ruthie gave a speech. But it's a start. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like Lily is being seen. Really seen. Not as the other granddaughter, not as second place. Just as Lily. And that's all I ever wanted. So that's my story. If you're still here, thank you for listening. Seriously, it helps more than you know just getting it out there. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like. And if you didn't, if you think I was wrong or too harsh or not harsh enough, tell me in the comments. I honestly want to know what you think. Every opinion matters to me. And if you've been through something similar with your family, share it. Because sometimes just knowing you're not alone makes all the difference. Thank you for watching. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.